Getting a WordPress site launched fast is easier than ever these days, and luckily, SiteGround handles most of the heavy lifting for you right out of the box. So I want to walk you through their Site Tools dashboard. So right now I'm logged into my account and I have my list of websites here. And as you can see, I use SiteGround for pretty much every one of my websites and my client websites. From here, we can either directly log into our WordPress admin, or we can go to our Site Tools, and that's where you can manage everything for each domain listed here. So I'll jump into the Site Tools, and this is going to be your primary dashboard. So if you're using another hosting service, you might be familiar with cPanel, but it definitely looks a little outdated, and it doesn't give you all the features that SiteGround does. The dashboard here gives you a quick overview of your website, how much disk space you're using, your IP address if you need to include that anywhere, as well as the name servers. When you set up your domain name, you're going to need the name servers to point your domain to SiteGround Web Hosting. You can see within here, this is my domain provider for this domain, and I edit the custom DNS settings right here. This is where I point it to SiteGround. You can also manage domains within SiteGround, but in general, I kind of like to separate those services. But if you just got one website, it's probably easiest to do it all through SiteGround. Just one less account to manage. So the next section here, we have our site section, and this is where you can upload your files. You could also edit files right in here. And your web root is this public HTML folder. So anything you put in here, that's going to be accessible when you go to your domain in the browser. I don't use this section too much because I usually like to transfer files with FTP. So you can create an FTP account and then use an FTP program like FileZilla. And that basically just gives you drag and drop functionality between your PC and your web server here on SiteGround. Then we have MySQL to create databases. And if you're setting up a WordPress website, that's all run by a single MySQL database. So every WordPress installation has a MySQL database associated with it. If you're creating a web app, you can do this yourself manually. But if you're using WordPress, that'll get set up with a one-click installation. There's also another database management system here, which I've never used, PostgreSQL or PostgreSQL. I don't know how to pronounce that. So now we'll look at the security section, and this is where you have your backups. So they automatically do a daily backup. If at any point you make a change or something breaks, you can always revert to one of these backups. Just hit this three-dot icon, and you can either restore the files and the databases or one of those two individually. You can also restore emails. And they give you the link to download, but I think you have to upgrade to get this ability. Pretty sure that I don't have this on my package. Yeah, this is the premium backup service for $249 a month. So if you like to be extra sure, have a hard copy of your backups on your own computer, you can upgrade to that. There's also ways to do it through WordPress plugins. And then we go over to the SSL manager. So this is what gives you the HTTPS at the beginning of the domain name to make sure that everything's encrypted. Once you point the domain to SiteGround, you can set this up. And then once you have that set up, you can do this HTTPS enforce to make sure that if somebody does go to the plain HTTP without the security, it'll just automatically forward to the HTTPS version. Now we'll jump into the speed section. So from the caching here, you can just easily enable this. Go over to the dynamic cache, and this is where you can empty your cache. So let's say you make a change, you go to the website, and it's still showing the old version. That's usually 90% of the time a cache issue. And you can just hit this flush cache button to remove the cache. It'll rebuild it, and you'll have whatever changes you made. Now, caching happens at multiple steps, so sometimes the cache issue is within WordPress and a WordPress plugin, and they also have a free version of a CDN built in. A CDN is a content delivery network, and basically it just copies the static parts of your website to a variety of locations, and then based on where the visitor's located, they'll download from the closest location to them. And you can either enable this free CDN or upgrade to the premium version. Next up, we got the WordPress section. So this is where you can install WordPress with one click. And you can see they also have the option to do this with WooCommerce plugin, which this is for e-commerce. And then once you install it from down here, you can manage your installations. And then the other powerful part of SiteGround is the staging area. Basically, you can use the staging area when you're either building a website or transferring a website from old hosting to your hosting, or if you do a major redesign, any customization where it's going to take some time to build it and you don't want to do that on the live website, the staging area is the perfect place to do it. And then when you're ready, you can push that to the live server. And the way the staging works is that it's just a subdomain of your regular domain. So you'll have like staging1.yourdomain.com. And if you want to look at those files, you'll be able to see that right up from the file manager. Another cool feature is the WordPress migrator. They have their own migrator plugin that you can install on WordPress, and it makes it super easy to transfer a site from old hosting over to SiteGround. Again, there are other third-party WordPress plugins that do this, but if it's built in with SiteGround, it's obviously optimized for their technology, so you might as well use it. When I transferred over from HostGator to SiteGround, I use this for all the websites, and it worked perfectly. To keep your site secure, you want to make sure that you're auto-updating your WordPress themes and plugins, as well as the core software. Again, I don't have WordPress installed on here, so you don't see this panel, but I highly recommend that you set all of your plugins and your themes to auto-update. And then if you want to go into the database and search and replace things, they have a search and replace tool, which makes it a little bit easier than going into the MySQL panel. Now, you want to be careful if you're doing this because you can break your site if you're going in and editing the database directly. And then next up here, we have the domain section. So this is going to be where you can create your own subdomains. You can do redirects, or if you need to edit DNS settings more granularly, like CNAMEs, MX records, TXT records, this is where you're going to do it. So normally you need to edit these if you want to hook your domain name into third-party services like an email marketing platform, or I know Google Search Console, you can verify your website with one of these records. I forget if it's a CNAME or a TXT. And then the MX record, this is for emails. So if you want to use a third-party email provider, you can do that here, or you can just create your email addresses directly on SiteGround, which that's the next section over here. So let's go into the email accounts. So this is where you create your email account. If you want to use a third-party email platform like Gmail or Apple Mail on your iPhone, you're going to have to set it up with these settings right here that they give you. The incoming email is this IMAP, and the outgoing email is the SMTP. You can also access your inbox if you go to yourdomain.com/webmail. When you go there, it'll bring you to a login screen. You can do everything just through the browser if you like. Now, I'm going to touch on email and disk space in a second here. And I think that's worth mentioning because I have a lot of clients that I just set up email forwarders. So a forwarder doesn't store any email on your web server. It just forwards it to whatever inbox you're currently using. So I usually set these up to go to my Gmail, and that way I manage everything from my Gmail account. And that saves space because we're not saving the emails. And obviously emails, if you sign up for newsletters and things like that, that can take up a ton of space. And I'm going to show you exactly how much with a great example in just a minute here. So whenever possible, I like to set up forwarders over accounts. And the only real difference is that with the forwarders, obviously you can receive email at an email address, a custom email address with your domain name. With the accounts, you're going to need the account if you want to send as. So obviously the forwarder, it's going to go to your personal inbox, and when you send and hit that reply button on an email, it's going to show your personal email, not that custom domain email. You need to get an account set up and hook that up with your email platform if you want to do that. There's a few other more technical sections which I'm not going to dig into, but I just wanted to mention that they also have this email migrator if you want to migrate your emails. Lastly, we have a couple statistics here. They give you the traffic, error logs, which can be helpful if you're using WordPress plugins that conflict. Usually you can either find the error here, or you might get a PHP error log in your files. So if you go up to the files, you might see that. So that's helpful for debugging. And then down here in the dev section, if you'd like to go through the command line, you can set up SSH keys. You can adjust your PHP versions through the PHP manager. And if you'd like to automate anything, you can set up cron jobs. I'll be honest, I knew about cron jobs years ago, but I never really looked into them because I thought it was too technical. But nowadays with AI, you can literally just ask AI to write cron jobs for certain scripts that you have. And I've been digging a lot more into code lately. So I've been having fun with seeing what I can automate. So let me touch on the space that you get for your SiteGround account. So I'm on the Grow Big package. And if we go over here to the Services tab, this is where you can check out your hosting plans. I actually have two Grow Big packages, and I have client websites spread out across both of them. But if you click on the settings for your hosting plan, this is where you're going to see all your websites. And then I like to jump into the statistics tab here, and this gives you a nice little chart. So your Grow Big plan should have 20 gigabytes of web space. And you can see here, I have something like 15 websites set up, and I still have 60% of my web space free. Now, I'm usually very good with optimizing. In fact, I just went through this in the last couple of months and cleared out a lot of unused space. I had a lot of backups and stuff that were taking up a couple gigabytes. But as I mentioned before, a big portion of this is your email usage. And then after that, WordPress, because it's a big platform, there are a lot of files. So that's going to take up a bunch of space. And then once you start using WordPress and uploading things like photos, that takes up a lot of space. I want to show you this example here where the number one site that's taking up the most space is literally the newest site that I created. And that's because it's a company that set up about 6 or 7 email addresses, and they just set up a business, but they've like went all in. So they're working very hard every single day, sending tons of emails. And within just a couple of months, they got up to 2.5 gigabytes of space. So I have some sites on here that have been around for over 10 years. And this is bigger than the second biggest site by a factor of like 3, over 3. You can see this is 2.5 gigabytes. The next site is 800 megabytes. And then after that, 630 megabytes. And just to give you an example, the site I just showed you that we were going through the site tools for, I built that from scratch with just code and AI. I'm not using WordPress. And along with that, I don't have any email addresses. I just have the forwarder set up. That site is only 6 megabytes. So that's literally 100 times smaller than this one right here. So that's why I have a bunch of space here. I've gone through and optimized a lot of my websites. And the last couple ones that I've set up, I've just been using raw code instead of WordPress because they've been simple, like 5-page websites. So depending on the type of site that you have on here and how much email usage you have, along with how many photos are on the site, that's what's going to determine how many websites you can fit on one plan. If I was just doing raw code websites with email forwarders, I could probably fit 100 websites on this package on the Grow Big plan. But if you do have, big companies, you set up email addresses, all that, you might only want to put like 2 or 3 websites on one of these 20 gigabyte packages. So that gives you a good introduction to SiteGround's site tools. And if you're in the process of looking at web hosts, check out my link to SiteGround in the description below. It's an affiliate link, and that helps to support my channel and creating free tutorials like this one. As you can tell, I personally use SiteGround, and I highly recommend them for your WordPress websites. I love the tools that they have built in, along with the WordPress plugins, the security plugin and the optimizer plugin, which you can install on your websites. And right out of the box, you're set up better than probably 80% of WordPress websites out there. Last but not least, make sure you give this video a thumbs up if you liked it. If you got any questions about SiteGround or how I use it, leave a comment below. And don't forget to subscribe to my channel for more tutorials like this one. If you'd like to take the next step and set up your website, I'll link up a few other helpful videos here that'll get you started.